Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. We're all aware that the NFL offseason has been anything but boring, especially when it comes to the NFC East, a division that's always been known for its fierce competition and unpredictable twists. But this year, something's brewing that could shake things up in a way we haven't seen in quite a while. And it involves none other than Washington's very own wide receiver, Terry Mclaurin. Yeah, you heard that right. The guy who's been the heart and soul of Washington's passing attack for years is now at the center of a political storm. Well, maybe not political, but definitely a storm in NFL front offices. So let's set the scene here. Mclaurin, a true star in the league, a Pro Bowler, a player who's consistently been one of the best at his position, is currently embroiled in a contract dispute with the Commanders. And this isn't just some minor disagreement. No, it's a situation that's reached a point where Mclaurin has actually submitted a trade request. That's right. The guy who's been loyal to Washington, who's helped carry the offense through thick and thin, is now looking to leave the team unless something changes. And if you're a Commanders fan, you know how serious this is. The interesting thing here is that Mclaurin's request has sent shockwaves through the league. Other teams, especially contenders, have been poking around, trying to gauge what it would take to bring him into their locker room. The question is, what is Mclaurin worth? Well, teams are asking, but the offers they've made so far haven't been enough to tempt Washington. And that makes sense because Mclaurin isn't just any receiver. He's a true game changer, capable of putting up big yards and making clutch catches, especially in critical moments. His stats are impressive. Year after year, he's been among the top receivers in the league, and his body of work is as good as anyone his age. He's only 29, turning 30 early in the 2025-26 season, which isn't old for a receiver, but it's enough to give teams pause when making a long-term commitment. You see, the Washington Commanders have a lot riding on this. Their offense, led by quarterback Jayden Daniels, has been surprisingly efficient, but without Mclaurin, their attack would take a massive hit. Daniels relies heavily on his star receiver, and losing Mclaurin could make things much more complicated for him. More difficult throws, fewer options, and a lot more pressure to find someone else to step up. That's why this situation is so crucial and why Washington is holding firm. They want to get the right deal, a fair value, and probably at least one valuable draft pick in return. A trade isn't just about moving a player, it's about how much you can get back to build for the future. So if the Commanders decide to part ways with Mclaurin, they'll be looking for a significant return, perhaps a second-round pick in the 2026 draft or even more. But now, let's shift gears and look at the potential landing spot that could make all this worth it. Yes, I'm talking about the Atlanta Falcons. Because, folks, the Falcons are in a very interesting position right now. After a solid showing in the 2024 season, led by quarterback Michael Penix Jr., they're feeling optimistic about their future. Penix Jr., who's still in his second year, showed flashes of brilliance last season, finishing the year on a high note. He's confident, he's improving, and he's got a couple of weapons that can really make a difference, namely Drake London and Bijan Robinson. Those two are already proving to be among the most exciting playmakers in the league, but the Falcons' skill position depth still leaves a lot to be desired. Now, if the Falcons could add a receiver like Mclaurin, that could change everything. Imagine a duo of London and Mclaurin, both capable of stretching the field and making big plays. That would give Penix Jr. a true all-around receiver to throw to, something that could elevate Atlanta's offense to a new level. And it's not just about the talent, it's about the strategic move. The Falcons, with their young quarterback on a rookie deal, have the flexibility to make a bold move. They're in a position similar to what the San Francisco 49ers have done with Brock Purdy, building a competitive team without breaking the bank on veteran contracts, and aiming for deep playoff runs. Adding Mclaurin would also give Atlanta a serious boost in the NFC South, a division that's still somewhat open. While Tampa Bay remains the favorites with Baker Mayfield, the Falcons have already shown they can compete with the best. They beat Tampa Bay twice last season, and with Mclaurin in the mix, they could become even more dangerous. That's the kind of move that can solidify their status as division contenders, especially if they can add a proven, reliable receiver to their arsenal. Mclaurin's presence would give them a real edge, and it would also put a lot of pressure on their division rivals to keep up. But of course, all this hinges on what Washington is willing to accept in return. The team has been cautious, understandably so. They don't want to lose their top receiver for nothing, but they also have to consider the financial and strategic implications. At nearly 30, Mclaurin's long-term value is a bit uncertain. Teams are hesitant to commit huge dollars to a player at that age, especially when they can get a draft pick or two that might help them build for the future. So, it's a delicate balancing act. Washington's management has to decide whether to hold firm and see if they can reach a new deal, or to move on and get something valuable in return. And this is where the intrigue thickens, because the NFL offseason is known for its surprises. We've seen teams trade star players at the last minute, and we've seen players hold out, demand trades, or sign lucrative extensions. Right now, Mclaurin's situation is a perfect example of that ongoing chess match between front offices and players. The Commanders don't want to lose their star, but they also can't ignore the risks of letting this drama drag on. If they can't come to an agreement, a trade might be the best move for everyone involved. Now, let's talk about the potential trade scenario with the Falcons. The trade offer I've been analyzing suggests that Atlanta could send a 2026 second-round pick to Washington in exchange for Mclaurin. It's a reasonable offer considering Mclaurin's talent and his impact on the field. For Washington, getting a second-rounder is a significant asset, especially if it helps them rebuild or add more pieces to their roster. For Atlanta, it's a gamble, but one that could pay off big time if Mclaurin proves to be the missing piece that elevates their offense. And for Mclaurin himself, this could be a fresh start. A new team, new scenery, and a chance to prove that he's still among the elite, especially with a quarterback like Penix Jr., who's eager to make his mark. Mclaurin could thrive, putting up 0 yards or more, something that would be music to the ears of Falcons fans and fantasy football players alike. But what about the broader implications? Well, this entire saga highlights a bigger trend in the NFL: teams versus players, negotiations, contracts, and the ever-present question of loyalty versus opportunity. Mclaurin's situation is a microcosm of that ongoing debate. And it's happening right now, right in front of our eyes, with the NFC East and NFC South watching closely. The decision Washington makes in the next few weeks could shape their season, and perhaps even their future, in ways we can't fully predict yet. We're in a fascinating moment in NFL history, and Washington fans, you should be paying close attention. Because whether Mclaurin stays or goes, it's going to have a ripple effect across the league. If he heads to Atlanta or another team, it could alter the balance of power in the NFC. And if Washington manages to keep him, well, that could be a huge boost for their season ambitions. Either way, the drama continues, and we'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now, let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this entire situation with Mclaurin? Do you think the team should hold firm and try to rebuild with the draft picks? Or do you believe that moving on and trading him for the right price is the smarter move? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of the Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, insider analysis, and all things Washington Commanders. So stay tuned because the NFL offseason isn't over yet, and every day brings new surprises. Thanks for sticking with us, and as always, Commanders.